Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Gatewood, the Communications and Marketing Director at CFRE International. And today I am talking with Graham Papenfus, who has been a CFRE since 2000 and what year do we have? 17 years, right? Graham,
2006.
2006. I was about to say 2007, so I'm glad you corrected me. And Graham is coming to us from Bath in the UK, where he is on the development team at Kingswood School. So thanks, Graham, for being with me today.
Oh, Ashley, lovely to be here.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about the value of the CFRE for fundraising professionals who are working in the UK. So as someone who does work in the UK and has held the CFRE for quite a while, what would you say are some of the benefits?
Ashley, very happy to answer that. I think there are a number of key benefits I've found as a CFRE for 17 years, as you say. It is a globally recognized fundraising credential. And in terms of globally recognized international recognition, it immediately gives you credibility. You know, we're a bit isolated down in the UK, so having that international credibility, we are part of an international community, is key. You also, of course, join the CFRE family, if I might call that, across the globe. And this is a huge resource to be able to call on, both virtually and also when you travel. And I've met members of the CFRE. It absolutely opened doors to you. And this is both in my current role at Kingswood and also in previous roles, and I'm sure in future roles that I'll fulfill. And then, of course, it enhances your CV, which creates, once again, wonderful opportunities. So the global recognition is fantastic. Secondly, it is a fundraising credential. And for me, it shows that I've invested in myself and in my profession. It's also not a qualification. It doesn't test you at a point in time. It does test you, but then it gets recertified, which we'll talk about later, on an every 3-year basis. So it is ongoing. And it is a credential, and it shows me that I'm at the top of my profession and I'm growing on an ongoing basis. It is also fundraising specific to fundraisers. So it's not a generic credential. And it gives my employers, my board, my volunteers, and crucially my donors the confidence in my ability and my profession, which is absolutely key. And then finally, speaking very personally, to me, it's a huge sense of pride and achievement in gaining the credential. I think you add all those benefits up, it's not hard to sell.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that, Graham. And so since you have marked 17 years, I think it's this year that you're going to hit that 17-year mark, and you've recertified numerous times. As you mentioned, you have to recertify every 3 years. What do you think is the benefit of recertifying? Sometimes people think, well, I've earned this credential, I've proven myself with the exam, I've met these requirements. Why would I want or need to recertify?
Absolutely, actually, it's a question I've had, probably a question I asked before I became certified, and also people have asked me on an ongoing basis. As you mentioned, I was certified in 2006. At that stage, I was chairman of IDP, which is the Institute of Development Professionals Education in the UK, which at that stage was a partner organization at CFRE. I was very fortunate to be mentored by a wonderful colleague of mine, former CFRE board chairman, Andrew Day. And in those deep, dark days, of course, it was a paper-based application exam process, which was quite a process. Now, of course, it's all computerized, which is much, much easier. It has also opened doors to me. I've served on 2 CFRE committees, and I have the great honor of being on an international board of directors. So massive, massive opportunity. Why do you recertify every 3 years? As I've said before, it is a certification, not a qualification. It is ongoing, showing that you, A, are investing in the profession, and B, you are still achieving. You're still raising money. You are still doing well in the industry. It is also, to tell the truth, it has motivated me to continue investing in my continuing education by attending conferences, courses, webinars. It's all too easy to get caught up in the daily grind of, well, I haven't got the time, I haven't got the budget, I'll get round to it. I know I need those points to recertify, and of course, I enjoy going to these conferences and attending. So it's a motivator. It also pushes me out of my comfort zone. Instead of just going to a conference, why not speak at it? Why not contribute? Because of course you get more points. So it's a good motivator for me to take on, in a sense, a leadership role. And in all sincerity, no one's really interested in my degree I took in 1990. Yes, it opens some doors, but my ongoing recertification of CFRE, the credential, which continues to show that I'm investing and I'm improving myself, has proved far more important than anything else I've done. So to me, it's actually a plus, not a negative. Takes a bit of time, but once you get into the swing of things, absolutely fantastic.
And that makes sense because I think, to your point, when we earn a degree, it can become outdated quite quickly. But when you're recertifying every 3 years, to your point, you're showing that you're continuing to engage in education, give back to the profession if you decide to speak to earn your points.
Mm,
So it does serve, and I've heard from other folks say, it's a prompt to continue to invest in your own learning.
correct, absolutely.
And for fundraising professionals in the UK who might be contemplating if the CFRE is a wise investment for their career, what advice would you have for them?
Actually, the simple thing is don't delay. Too many people want to spend a lot of time. And I was listening to a webinar actually just a couple of days ago. But should you be fundraising? Well, of course, yes. Get out and talk to people. Should you certify? Absolutely. Don't delay. Start now. Register and start your application. There's no cost up front that you have to pay, so don't worry about the money. Yes, it takes a bit of time, but you can dip in and you can dip out. It's a wonderful system which automatically saves everything you enter, and it equally calculates all the points, as opposed to the old paper-based system where I had to sit down and keep track of where I was. So it's not a lot of hassle. The other thing you do need to be realistic about it, you will need to have details over the last number of years of your degree that you might have had, any training courses you've been on, what funds you've raised, programs you've put into place. That does take time because that forms the basis for you to qualify enough points to sit your exam. So don't leave those to the week before, the day before, even the month before. As you attend a course, pop in the course, it'll automatically calculate the points for you, and look back in your records to find those details. Equally, I mean, what is some more benefits and advice? It connects you with the CFRE. People, yourself, and even the other members of the CFRE team, a wealth of experience and help. It also, of course, will connect you with recently certified CFREs. And they can be wonderful ambassadors to share their journey with you as you start yours. And they are also CFRE ambassadors in the UK who will hold your hand and help you through the process. It's not complicated, but it's nice just to have someone to help you along the way. So there are people there to help you. So don't delay. There's a cost, and there is an exam you need to take up front, but don't let the cost and the exam put you off. And that's sometimes people stumble. The cost, I've been very fortunate that my employer has funded the initial cost, or the once every 3-year cost of certifying. It's part of my professional development budget. I know some people say they'd rather pay for by themselves because it's their professional development. Whatever it is, there's a way to do it, and don't let that put you off. And finally, the exam, the dreaded exam. Don't be put off by it. The exam tests you on what you are doing on a daily basis. It's not a theoretical exam. It's not something you need to go and swat up on, a foreign language or foreign country. It'll test what you're doing every day in your job. Sure, there'll be areas that you're not maybe doing major gifts at the moment, or you haven't run a capital campaign, and do a bit of reading, do a bit of follow-up, join some study sessions if you can get through, or have a chat to fellow CFREs. But it's not as daunting as it is. And the best thing, having said that, is you don't have to sit the exam again. So once you've passed it, you then just recertify by continuing to do well in the profession. So, yeah, get on and do it.
Thanks, Graham. That's great advice. Yeah, and I think a lot of people do put off becoming a CFRE because they feel nervous about the exam. But I mean, to your point, exactly, this is what people are doing 40 hours a week. It's something that they've committed their career to, that they're passionate about. And there are study resources out there. And I always say to people, you want to pass the exam and become a CFRE, and we want you to pass the exam and become a CFRE. It's not something that is impossible. It is something that with appropriate study and putting in the time is a very attainable goal for those who decide to pursue it.
So everyone's on your side and everyone wants to support you. So it's, yeah,
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Graham, so much for sharing your viewpoint and your CFRE experience. It's much appreciated.
my pleasure, Ashley. Thank you for having me.